Welcome to the Purpose Breakthrough Podcast, the podcast for men who are ready to stop chasing fulfillment and start making clear, confident decisions while taking aligned action towards their true purpose. I am your host, Tyler Woods, and my intention is to help you cut through the noise so you can do what you're meant to do. Let's dive deep. Break through to the life you were meant to live. I was thinking about this concept of the work. I ran a workshop the other day, and this person came in and they were like, I just want to find people who are working on themselves. I want to be in community with people who are doing the work. And I was like, well, what is the work? Specifically, when it comes to men and purpose. What is men's work? What does it mean for men to do their work? Well, when I got started in this whole men's work thing, I found this organization called the Mankind Project. They're worldwide. They're in a bunch of countries. They do initiation weekends because in my culture, there's not a lot of healthy initiation for boys to become men. I mean, what do? I graduate from high school and go to college. I get a driver's license. I drink alcohol. I join a sports team. There's no rite of passage to denote like, okay, you are now a man. It's like just kind of happens, or maybe never happens, right? It's a deeper topic of what does it mean to be a man versus being a boy, being mature. So the Mankind Project, it's on these weekend initiations and also takes the form of these integration groups or these I groups, men doing the work. And so what is the work? Well, the work is introspection, it's examination, it's looking at your stuff. What is your stuff? Well, it means feeling your feelings, understanding how you got to be the way you are, maybe examining the past, looking at your life through a lens of contemplation and maybe a growth-oriented mindset. Like, I want to create this life, and I'm going to sit in this circle of men, and we're going to think about, we're going to examine, we're going to figure things out, right? It's gathering with other men in an intentional way to look at our stuff. And in the Mankind Project particularly, there's this idea of the shadow. Maybe you've heard of this term, shadow work. Doing the work might mean you're doing shadow work. Well, in the Mankind Project, the shadow is, it's like this thing. It's like this dark part of ourself. It's the part of me that I hide and repress and deny. It's like it's over here. I don't want to look at it. And people talk about their shadow of like a belief about themselves that came from a long time ago. Like, my shadow of I'm not good enough, or my shadow of I'm unworthy. And it's like this thing that folks carry around. And so when I first started doing men's work, when I found these circles of men, introspection or feeling my feelings or just going within in any way, it wasn't a thing that I did. It wasn't part of my life. And sitting in a conference room and some chairs in a big circle with men, listening to them share vulnerably about their life, the challenges they were facing, all categories of life, relationships and money and sex and business and just the day-to-day and their emotions. My God, they were talking about their emotions. They were feeling their feelings. that was a big deal for me because I was just very much just like, I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm terminally unique, and all of my problems are all mine, and there's no one else like me, and I'm this, I'm that. And I began to learn about this concept of shadow, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I've got this shadow of I'm not good enough. Oh. And so men's work, coming together, meeting, we're talking about stuff. Well, what else happens in men's work? Well, maybe there's some ritual, maybe there's some process, some guidance within. And the iconic image of men around the fire, there's an aesthetic to that, but there's also a power. And in that setting, everyone's focused on one thing, and maybe it's an opportunity for a man to confront something within himself that he may not want to see. Again, bringing back the concept of the shadow. I've since come to realize that shadow, it's kind of a vague, nebulous term, like this idea that you have a shadow. The shadow is really kind of just like the unconscious mind, the things that I don't consciously know about, just all land in this place of the shadow. And so doing the work, men's work, men coming together to examine their unconscious. Ah, there it is. Men who are conscious. What does it mean to be a conscious man? Well, what does it mean to be an unconscious man? Unconsciousness. That's the opposite of consciousness. So maybe unaware, not knowing. They're running on automatic. They're not present. They're just kind of looping these past things, just going through life. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's other levels. So conscious men, as if there's like one or the other, like they're right or wrong, conscious or unconscious. But I guess consciousness is to bring awareness and bring attention. And so to be conscious and to do the work is to bring awareness to the stuff inside. So again, what is that stuff? We talked about the idea of shadow. It's the unconscious. What is in the unconscious? Well, there's all kinds of stuff. There's beliefs about yourself. There's emotions in there. There's a lot of thoughts, right? This web, this network of everything that you've learned, everything you've been taught, the map of the world as you know it from when you were, 7. Everything that's just kind of been unexamined and running the show for all of this time, that's showing up maybe dysfunctionally. Doing the work is often coming to a place intentionally to examine what's not working and what you want to have happen. So, men coming together to feel their feelings, examine their subconscious, and create a better life for themselves. I've always had a little bit of an issue with that phrase, becoming the best version of yourself. I guess it falls into that space of you're whole and complete just as you are, and you could use improvement. So becoming the best version of yourself, that's kind of like this yeah, forget that past version of myself. I'm going to become the best version. Like, is there a worst version? Maybe. There's a level of acceptance that kind of comes with wanting to make a change in the first place. I talked about earlier this concept of resistance, and how the key to moving through any resistance is ultimately accepting it, moving forward. So men's work can look like so many different things. It can, like I said, it can be, men in a conference room sitting around in a circle. It could be around a fire. It could be out in nature. It could look like emotional cathartic release. It could look like someone just closing their eyes and being facilitated by someone. There's no thing that it has to look like. However, there are effective and ineffective forms of men's work, right? There are levels to everything. We talk about the story, and I'm just talking about my feelings and talking about the past and talk. Maybe you'll get some relief. Maybe you'll feel a little bit better, but ultimately, whatever's still in there in the subconscious, that's still happening. That's still running the show. That's still driving the bus, as they say. Like, oh, who's driving the bus? Oh, it's my shadow. It's my subconscious. There's embodied work that can be done, going within, feeling, meeting the different aspects or the different parts of the mind, kind of personified as these shapes and colors and all of these stuff. That's parts work. That's internal family systems. And ultimately, when we go within, when you meet parts of yourself, of your mind, you have an opportunity to change your beliefs on a very, very deep level. So one of the highest forms of doing the work is parts work, meeting aspects of yourself through closing your eyes, getting into a relaxed state, low, slow brainwave frequency, and really meeting those parts, calling them forward. It's very much a journey sometimes. And having an opportunity to accept something, accept those parts, accept them as they are, to transform them, to form a relationship with them, and make some new outcome. That's, again, that paradox of just accepting it as it is and wanting it to change. So my relationship with men's work started in the circle, started in the conference rooms. Sometimes there was some yelling and screaming, a lot of tears, a lot of emotions, doing these embodied processes, going to these weekend retreats where it'd be these really intense peak experiences, and then coming to much more subtle levels of being in circle with other men, listening, exchanging, facilitating, understanding, and my journey eventually taking me into more self-guided and one-on-one facilitated, like parts work, working with parts of myself, and just like recognizing every opportunity, every problem as an opportunity to go to something higher or something greater. Every part of you, every aspect of yourself, every problem ultimately has a high intention, positive intention. Positive and negative are debatable, but there's a greater calling to growth somewhere in every situation. And doing the work is finding that. Doing the work is finding that greater intention, that positive intention in every situation, in every problem, in every goal, in every moment. Doing the work is kind of coming back to the root, the self. Talking about parts work, there's all of the parts, and then there's you, who you are, your self, capital S. So doing the work, particular men's work, examining the unconscious mind, examining the parts of the mind, hopefully in an intentional way, to create more coherence, less dysfunction, and in typical male fashion, move towards a goal because we want to win. So thank you for watching this, and keep doing the work, whatever that means to you. Thank you for tuning into the Purpose Breakthrough Podcast and for investing in yourself today. If you're ready to stop chasing fulfillment and want to start making clear, confident decisions while doing the work you're meant to do, head over to tylerisit.com. There you can learn more about working with me to create a life of true purpose and alignment. This is just the beginning.